Look at this mess. Everything's a mess. I gotta get this place cleaned up now. Trip's done. This is what it looks like after you go for 4,400 miles. What a mess. Left one of my knives at my mother's house. I got some work ahead of me here. Get all this food out of here. There's some extra water bottles. We went through about, I bet we went through 12 of these water bottles. There's some empty ones. I got 3 left. Yeah, we weren't drinking out of the tank. I had to clean that refrigerator out too. Yeah, I got some cleanup to do in here. Well, here's our first. Hi, baby. Hi, kitty. How's the baby doing, huh? I thought you were scared of the bus. Come here. Come here, pretty. Come here, pretty. Come on. Hi, pretty girl. Boy, she's tamed out a lot. She was half wild when I found her. What a pretty kitty. Baby. Baby. Come here, baby. There's a pretty girl. Yeah, she doesn't like the bus usually. Just checking it out, I guess. It's first kitty in the bus since Ruby Doo. Well, I think I'll just let her explore a little bit. Hey, pretties. Oh, that little kink tail she has. Turned out to be a really nice cat. Really well mannered. A little exploration going. Oh, she got scared again. There she goes. Hello everybody. I've tried to start this video about 2 different times and fire trucks are going by and cops and the road noise, big trucks. So I finally just kind of gave up and came on the inside of the bus because I'm parked out front of the shop right now, right along the main drag. But I was going to do a video on what worked out on the bus on the trip out of all the things I bought and what really failed, what was mediocre, that type of thing. So you guys, if you're interested, let's go along with this. And I made me a list here, so I'm going to drop it on the floor. Hang on a second. All right, I was trying to hide it from you, see, but okay. Let's start off with the AC, okay? And I'll talk about both the AC and the dashboard. And in the back of the bus right here. And let me get you turned around here. And how this AC worked out, this portable one. I would put it right here. Most of you guys have seen this if you've been watching my videos. If you haven't, I've done a full video on this. But I put the AC right here, then I ran a tube out the window through a custom-made vent panel that I have for it. It's up here in the top. Well, anyway, when we would stop the bus and we would use this as our air conditioning because we weren't using the dash anymore or the back one, it worked rather well. One night I actually had to get up and turn it down because it was making me too cold. The first time I tried this, it didn't work well. I was over in about 95-degree heat over at a campground, but I had never cleaned it or anything. So I went down behind it there, pulled all the screens out and all the filters, completely cleaned them, completely cleaned the whole unit up, and it worked pretty darn good, I have to admit. It does struggle right at first when you first stop the bus, because the floorboards and the engine cover on this side, it gets really hot down there, and it makes it very difficult for that to cool off. It takes, geez, sometimes it takes about an hour, hour and a half for that to even get down to temperature. But that inhibits this from working somewhat. But after that cools off, this thing works great. It's a 10,000 BTU unit, and it's a Kenmore. It's fully digital and everything. But I didn't really have much trouble with the hose heating up the inside of here. I know that it did some, but I would lay a great big giant beach towel on it, and it kind of insulated it a little bit. Okay, so that's where we are in this thing. I think it probably, in comparison, would do about 5,000 BTU if you had like a window unit in the back of the bus or something. It would compare to that, a small window unit. You're not getting anywhere near the 10,000 BTUs it's rated for, but you are getting probably about 5,000, my guess, and it will cool the bus down and keeps it comfortable in here when you're boondocking. Okay, let's go to the dash air now. The dash air, I had no complaints about it. It only blows out of this vent, this vent, and this vent. There's nothing on this dashboard here that allows you to turn it down to your feet. It's either on AC or AC, what's it say there? Normal and max. That's the only two options you have. You cannot switch this from AC over to the mix or the floor. You can't get it to go to the floor. It only blows out the top. And that's just the way the thing was made, and there's nothing we can do about it. So when it gets going down the road and that floor gets real hot, and this the side panels of the engine cover gets warm, there's no way of really cooling your feet. What we did is we took these Walmart fans here, these clamp-on Walmart fans. You can get them for about 13 bucks. And by the way, those things work perfectly. We'd clamp it down there and blow it through this direction, over here under, and it circulated the air down here. And also I had a little box that I put over top of that vent, and I cut the bottom of the box out, and it pushed the air down onto the floor, and it helped cool your feet a little bit that way. But as far as driving comfort, that's the only complaint I have, is that the floorboard does get warm, and it makes your feet uncomfortable. In a cold climate, this would be optimal, I think. You'd probably keep really toasty up there, but when it's really hot, I'm talking 95 degrees and above, that becomes a little bit of an issue. And I personally, if I was going to keep this bus, I would probably get a splitter to take part of this air from this one and aim it down, maybe a T fitting of some sort on the round air conditioning tube that's in there. Then you can shut this one off on the front, and it would blow down when you need it there, or you could open it back up and it would come out the front. But that would be a little modification somebody might want to make if they buy this bus. And okay, so the dash air was great. It blew out between 45 and 47 degrees when I tested it. It was very good. Now, these two knobs here control the temperature. That one controls the temperature, and that one controls the fan speed for the rear air right here. When I tested it, it was blowing out 60 degrees, and that's as cold as I could make it go, 60 degrees. And the hotter it gets, the less effective this air conditioning is. And when it was up, we had those 107, 104, 107 days on the trip. This one just didn't really keep up. It would never get warm, but it would still blow cool air, but the coolness had less effect as the temperatures went up, if that makes any sense. I even stopped in out there in Oklahoma, and my younger brother David and I, we put 2 cans of Freon in here to try to help it, and we got it completely full, and it still was about the same. It didn't really improve anything. So it may be just the nature of the beast, you know. We can't seem to get it any colder than that. So it's not malfunctioning. It's just not very effectual. Okay. All right. So let's move on to some other things that. Let's see. I covered the air. There's the diesel heater. That diesel heater only works on setting number 1. There's 10 settings on it. It will only work on number 1 because there's a heat sensor that goes on top of the burn box that is malfunctioning, and the heater thinks that it's getting too hot and it shuts itself off. So I need to fix that. I need to pull that out. I need to put a new sensor in it and get that fixed back up again. But you know, I paid $143, I think it was, for that, and you kind of get what you pay for. When it does function, if you put it down on 1, it's plenty warm enough to keep this bus in you know, your average cool temperatures. It keeps this bus really warm, but you know, I need to get it fixed anyway though. And let's see what else. Oh, the refrigerator. Now this guy worked wonders. This little Costway chest refrigerator, I have no complaints about it. I would give that an excellent rating. If you set it too low, it will freeze because the temperature fluctuates in there between 4 and 5 degrees. So if you set it like say on 36, you may have a tendency to get down to 30, 31 degrees, and usually it didn't go below 31, but it will, you know, put a light freeze on like your water or your milk or whatever's in there. So I set it up about 38, and it did fine. It kept everything really cold. It kept everything good. Even some of the stuff that I bought prior to the trip, and I was gone for 4 days on the road, 5 days out there, then 3 days back. So when I got here, some of the dairy stuff was still good. You know, it didn't have any problem at all, you know, keeping food. And the bumping didn't hurt it any. I mean, I went down some really rough roads. I went down some rough roads that was so bad that it broke these latches right here. Look at this. It's all, look how it was all bent up and broken, just hanging there. See how this one's all bent back? Yeah. So I need to fix that. That's one of the things I'm going to have to fix. But I had that for it just in case, and that kept the cabinets from opening. And we had such rough roads out there, especially when we got into Oklahoma on Highway 412. I mean, it was hammering so hard that this was bouncing right here. This cover, it was bouncing. My cover that's securely, you know, set in on this stove here, this flew off. My soap comes flying out onto the ground, but everything else stayed in place. I didn't lose anything up here. I found out that I didn't like having silverware in there on a rough road. That gets a little noisy. It kind of, you know, knocked my mirror around a little bit, but you know, all the stuff like the speakers, everything stayed. I got another one of those Walmart fans here. I can recommend these. They don't draw much power. They're cheap. They work good. If they go bad, you just buy another one. Buy them at Walmart. 13 bucks. And what else? Well, the water system worked really good. The pump worked, no leaks. All the shaking and vibrating this thing did on that 4,400 mile trip didn't hurt the water system whatsoever. Worked perfectly. Have no complaints about that. So let's move on over to this stove here. Let me move some stuff here. It's something else I found out. When you're traveling in one of these, you got to move one thing to get to something else. Okay, Flame King stove. I don't know what to say about this thing. Look at the flakes That's coming off of these burners when they get hot. This burner isn't stainless steel. It's bent. It's just bent steel here. Not stainless steel, but cast iron. This is just some springy metal and painted black. And the black on it is really cheap, and see it's coming off. So every time I use this thing, you can see it got used a little bit here. It just pops the paint off of it and gets all over the stove. Eventually that'll stop, but I'm sure this will start to maybe try to rust or something a little bit. If you guys remember, when I had this thing installed, well, actually I installed it, but I had to have it taken out and redone because all the fittings inside were leaking. And when I had the gas lines professionally installed and they tested this thing, the whole inside of this thing was on fire underneath this panel here. You take these screws off and there's the thing that has all the controls and all the rest of the stuff, and it was burning in there, and we had to replace everything with brass fittings. So this handle here still turns fine, see? But this one here, it's monkeyed. It's just pretty much shot. I can't get it to turn on. Randomly you can get it to turn on, but I don't trust it anymore. I'm going to take it over to the place I had the lines put in, the guys that repaired this the first time, and see if they have another valve for that. If they don't have a valve for that, this stove initially is just that one burner right there. This thing, I got it from Amazon. It's Flame King. It's supposed to be a good brand. Nothing but trouble. I do not recommend this thing. Do not buy one of these and put it in your bus or your van. Really poorly made. This is my opinion now. Poorly made, poor quality all throughout, and when you're going down the road, even with this heavy thing on it here, if you hit bumps, this does this. Yeah. I was hitting some pretty bad bumps. Everything was jostling around pretty bad. On Highway 412, it was for like a good hour and a half of that, just shaking this thing, and nothing came loose. All my cabinetry is fine. All the seams, all the corners, everything looks good. And I do notice something in that heat that's out there. You see the strapping here? That's that iron-on top. That came loose. That came loose there, right here, and on the top of the bed edge it did a little bit. When you open the bed and that, you have the 6-inch board going across there, the top of that come loose in a couple little spots. So I need to figure out what I'm going to do about that. I need to do a quick fix on that, either try to iron it back on or take it off and maybe put a metal edging on this, kind of like this metal edging we have up here on top of this, or the ones around the door. Yeah, we might have to put some metal edging on there. And everything else rode good. The stereo worked great. TV worked great. All the speakers stayed in place. The Sony stereo worked good. This convex stereo worked really good. Microwave worked fine. My free toaster. Lost one of my knives at my mom's house. I left it there like a dummy. And what else we got going on here? Let me read my list here for a second. Oh yeah, the on-demand water heater. Getting water to here was fine. It came on hot every time, no problems. Good for washing your face and dishes, getting cleaned up and washing your hands in general. But the water heater for when you're running the shower in here, yeah, you gotta set it, and outside, just set the hot water only, and set it to where it's comfortable. Then just come in here and turn the hot water on right there. That one right there. and take your shower and don't turn it off. If you do that, it'll keep running warm. It'll stay lit. If you don't do that, if you try to put it on really hot out there, then use the cold water to use the mixer like you would do in a normal house. The hot water doesn't run enough volume through it, through the machine itself, the hot water heater, because it's on demand, and it will shut off and on, shut off and on. And when it does that, you get fluctuations in the water, not only in the pressure, but the, well, not so much the pressure, but the temperature. You'll get like cold spots in it and stuff. And that does not make a very pleasant showering experience. I had one shower like that, and then I fixed it. And so that's one of the little tricks you have to do with an on-demand water heater. But shower worked great. Sorry guys, had to free up some space there. Also, this bathroom is actually too small for me. I'm 340 pounds, 6'5", a little over, and it's just too small. Average size guy, this would be fine, but not for me. But it does have a full shower. The porta potty worked fine. I'm not a fan of picking that thing up and emptying it though, but it worked good. And I used a can for urine, and I don't like that either. So I'm going to have to figure out something different on the next bus. I don't think I'm going to do a porta potty. So the green tea mattress, the 8-inch green tea mattress that I bought for this, never did get to 8 inches. It's like 7 1/4, but I can't say anything bad about it. It's very, very comfortable. I raised the head a bit, and under the feet I put some pool noodles, so it raises the feet up a little bit. They made a really nice comfy bed for me. This bed did really well, the Murphy bed. We used it all that time, went through all that bouncing and bumping. When we closed it up, everything latched, nothing moved. We're happy with that, real happy with that. That worked really good. And the 110 volt electric Lesco fan, I ran it up here in my mounts, like I showed you in another video, and it worked okay. That's all I can say about it. It's just okay. What I would do if I kept this bus for my own, because I am going to sell it. That'll be the next video. I'm going to do a walkthrough. Is I might put a 12 volt fan through the roof, probably up there, and then use that fan here. And it needs 2 fans in the roof, I'm pretty sure. I think that would have been a little more comfortable. The swivel seats, they're average comfort. They weren't super comfy or nothing, but they worked. I sat there a lot of the trip, right there, filming out that window. And this table here, it's excellent. I like it. I like that a lot. It came a little bit loose and started shaking once, but I just went underneath it. There's a thumb tightener underneath it. I just tightened it back up again, because the vibrations got to it. It does everything, I think. So I think that covers everything in here. Let's go outside. Oh, it doesn't cover everything in here. I just remembered my major beef. I had a dash cam on the dash, and I also had AutoVox. It was an 8-man dash cam and an AutoVox backup camera. Matter of fact, the backup camera is sitting right there. Both. Okay, sorry there. I was having trouble with my phone. As I was saying, the 8-man backup camera was a piece of junk. It just wouldn't accept a card. It wouldn't work properly, and we ended up using it for parts for my son's girlfriend's 8-man camera that she has in hers that failed. So between the two of them, we made one, and it's in her new Toyota right now. But do not buy 8-man cameras. They're terrible. And also that AudioVox reverse camera completely failed me. It worked really good for about a month and a half, 2 months. Then it went gunny sack on me. So complete failure on that. You know what? Most everything that I bought that was electronic from from Amazon failed. It kind of makes me wonder, you know. Makes me wonder if they're selling a bunch of seconds or whatever. And see that camera holder right there, the phone holder? That was on my window, and it got hot and fell off, and we stuck it up there, and it seemed to have stayed. So, you know, at least that's working out good. Let me grab my list and see if there was anything else that I had on it that, you know, I wrote down a whole bunch of stuff. Yep. Okay, we talked about the sink. Oh, my little dish rack. Yeah, my little dish rack worked out really good. This guy here, we didn't lose a cup off it, even on the roughest roads. I keep these little door stops behind the plates, and it keeps them in place, and nothing rattled loose, nothing came off, nothing made noise, and so that's good. And so let's go out here and talk about the engine of the bus. This 7.3 Power Stroke right here, Power Stroke motor. This thing here ran cool even in the hottest weather. It didn't seem to mind whether it was hot or cold. It seemed to have plenty of power. We climbed up some steep grades, and it was good. I have no complaint about it. And it just loved hot weather, I guess. And the transmission did good. We didn't have any trouble with that. I thought I was doing having a problem once, but what I did is I left the darn emergency brake on, and I figured that one out. Felt kind of stupid, but I didn't overheat it too much or anything. The brakes, that would be on the rear ones. The tires worked out really good. New tires. All the front brakes are new. The back tires were great. We had no problem with them. And yeah. And there's a Honda 3000 IS in there. That thing worked great. I plugged it direct from here to my plug-in on the back, my 30 amp cord. Had no problem whatsoever. It ran our air conditioning. Had no problems with it. And I had a gas can on here, and we didn't really even need it. I wish I would have left it empty like that. I could have barbecued on it and stuff like that. It would have been nice little table area. But the repairs that we did here, and over here, remember when it shook loose and it split here? That held up really good because of all that bracing we put underneath it. I had the welders put you can see the metal brace right there. See it under there, that big old steel metal brace coming from the bumper, welded on. Yeah, all that hammering and shaking we did, and that didn't come loose at all. I've got to replace this whole bulb assembly right here because it went bad. It must have shook it or something too much, or it's probably the original, and it just finally went out. So what I think I'll do is I'll probably replace this one and that one over there just to make sure. I may have some of those in the shop. And let's see what else I have here. Oh, I wanted to talk about the Telma electric brakes. I thought it was an electric over hydraulic system. It's what they call a retarder. I'll show you where it's at on the bus. There's 4 stages to this. See the four lights there? That's 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%. And here's the retarder. That's what turns it on. There it's only on 1 and 2, and this one turns stages 3 and 4 on. And what that does is it's a retarder unit that's got electric coils in it, and it goes right behind the transmission on the driveline. And when you apply the brakes, there's a rheostat in there that kicks it on, and it sends power to these capacitors. and when the thing spins, it causes a reverse current on it, and it holds back the bus. It's kind of hard to explain. I'm not real technical on that, but if anybody wants to, they can look up Telma, T-E-L-M-A, retarder, and you'll find out what they're all about. And it worked really good for us. We came down a really steep grade. It was 8% grade, and worked really well. Held us back really good. And yeah, I think we covered everything. So I'm going to be doing a walkthrough on this next. I've cleaned it up. Man, it took me hours to clean this thing today. There were so many bugs on the front of it. This whole top was just coated in them, the whole front. And I did notice I've picked up a couple little rock chips from the road test. But you know, it's tried and true and tested now. That was a 4,400 mile trip. No problems whatsoever. So I'm going to be doing a video on that next, and we'll do a walkthrough, and I'll set a price on it, and we'll just go from there. We'll see if somebody wants a nice bus. Hey guys, guess what I found in the shop? Look at this. Brand new LEDs. I have about 7 or 8 of them in there, but these will fit right in the same size. Yeah, same size. Guess what else I got? I've got LEDs in the yellow ones too. I might just go ahead and change all these out. I didn't find any of the reverse light ones though, the clear ones, but score, huh? Got a whole Napa rack full of all these different types of lights. Back when I bought out a little bit of a auto parts store. Okay, just thought you'd like to see that. I'll catch you guys later. Look at the difference. There's the old original light. There's the new light. That's quite a difference, isn't it? Back here, the one on the right doesn't even look on. I think I want to change out every one of these I can. That'll make a much, much safer rig. I'm going to get on that. Got new lamps in there for the turn signals and the running lamps and the brake lamps. A lot brighter. The package said they're LED. They must be an old style LED because they don't look like LEDs to me. But they sure are bright. It might just be the old style single LED bulb instead of the multiple ones that make the ring. But either way, working great. All right, glad I got that out of the way. Okay, I'll catch you guys next time.